You know, when we think about what it means to be a good learner, it's not just about memorizing facts, right? The best learners, they adapt, they change how they learn based on what they're trying to do. But what about AI? Well, for a long time, we've kind of been giving AI agents a fixed playbook, a static memory system. Today, we're going to dive into a new framework called MemEvolve, and it's all about teaching an AI not just what to learn, but how to actually get better at learning itself.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why current AI learning kind of hits a ceiling. Then, we'll get into how MemEvolve smashes through that ceiling by teaching AI to learn how to learn. We'll unpack the toolkit that makes this all possible, check out some really impressive test results, and then wrap up by looking at what this means for the future, the dawn of a truly adaptive AI. All right, let's start with a simple analogy to get our heads around this. First up, you've got your mediocre learner. This is the person who, keeps making the same mistakes over and over because they're just not learning from experience. In the AI world, this is basically an agent with no memory at all. It's a clean slate every single time.
Okay, so a step up from that is the skillful learner. Now, this learner is pretty good. They have a system, maybe they take great notes, or they're a master of flashcards. They definitely learn, but here's the catch. They use that same strategy for everything. This is pretty much where most of today's AIs are at. They have a memory, but it's a one-size-fits-all deal.
But the real goal, the gold standard, is the adaptive learner. This person doesn't just have one trick up their sleeve, they have a whole toolbox. They'll use flashcards for history, but switch to practice problems for math. They actually change how they learn to fit the challenge. And that, right there, is the massive leap MemEvolve is trying to make, to get AI from just being skillful to being truly adaptive.
So, this brings us right to the core of the problem. Why is having a single, static learning strategy such a big deal, such a limitation for an AI?
The researchers behind MemEvolve really nailed it with this quote. There is no single, perfect, one-size-fits-all memory system for an AI. It just doesn't exist. Think about it. A memory that's great for helping an AI browse the internet might be totally useless for, say, deep scientific reasoning. So the main takeaway here is, if the memory can't change, the AI's ability to truly learn and evolve is, well, fundamentally broken from the start.
And that is the exact challenge MemEvolve was built to take on. So how in the world do you build an AI that doesn't just learn stuff, but actually learns how to learn better over time?
The answer is this really cool concept called meta-evolution. It's a process where the AI is basically evolving on two levels at once. It's not only learning from its experiences, but the system itself is evolving a better memory to improve future learning. It's this incredible, powerful feedback loop.
Let's break that down real quick. First, you have what's called the inner loop. You can think of this as the day-to-day work. The AI uses its current memory to tackle a problem, try things, and remember what worked and what didn't. This is pretty standard stuff for any learning agent.
But this is where the magic happens, the outer loop. This is the meta-learning part. The system is watching the agent's performance and basically asking itself, how could our memory have been better for that task? Did we retrieve information too slowly? Did we remember the wrong things? It then uses those insights to actually redesign its own memory architecture for the next time around. Now, you can't just tell an AI, hey, go evolve your memory. It needs building blocks, right? A standardized set of parts it can actually work with. And that's exactly where this system called Evolve Lab comes into play. So Evolve Lab breaks down any AI memory system into 4 key components. First, you have to encode experiences into actual knowledge. Then you have to store that knowledge somewhere. Next, you got to retrieve the right info when you need it. And finally, you have to manage all that memory, clean house, decide what to keep, what to forget. Every memory system is really just a different recipe using these 4 ingredients.
And the really cool part is, the team behind this didn't just make this up. They actually analyzed 12 different existing AI memory systems and figured out how to standardize them all into this one modular framework. This gives the AI a really rich gene pool to pull from as it evolves.
All right, this all sounds incredibly cool in theory, but the real question, the one that always matters, is, does it actually work any better in practice? Let's take a look at the results.
So, let's get right to it. Does an AI that evolves its own memory actually outperform an AI that's just handed a really good but fixed memory system from the start?
Well, the results are pretty darn clear. What you're seeing here is a test called the Flash Searcher Benchmark. It's designed to see how well an agent can find relevant information in a complex, fast-changing environment. And that teal bar,
MemEvolve just consistently blows the others out of the water. We're talking better than an agent with no memory and better than several agents using today's best fixed memory system.
The performance gain was huge, reaching up to a 17% improvement over some of the top existing systems. Now, in the world of competitive AI research, an improvement like that isn't just a small tweak, it's a massive leap forward. It suggests the evolved memory figured out how to be super fast and efficient, which was perfect for this kind of task. It really proves the advantage of being adaptive.
So let's zoom out a little bit. What does this all really mean? Why is an AI that can learn how to learn such a game changer?
The impact here is pretty huge. What we're talking about is creating AI that is way more flexible and way more efficient because it can literally tailor its own brain to the job at hand. This is a massive step towards creating those general-purpose agents we're all hoping for, AIs that can handle the messy, complex, real-world problems. It's what takes AI from just being skillful to being truly adaptive.
And that really leaves us with this one final, powerful question to chew on. For so long, we focused on what an AI can learn, but this research kind of flips the script. Now, if an AI can fundamentally change and improve the very way it learns, what are the limits to what it can achieve? That's the door that MemEvolve has just kicked wide open.